This is the Extra Point Podcast. During this podcast, we will dive deeper into our Sunday teaching and share practical next steps for your faith journey. Now, let's kick off the Extra Point.
Hey, welcome to the Extra Point. I'm Cheryl Ross, the Next Steps and Discipleship Pastor, and I'm with Scott Beha, our lead pastor. And I want to just make sure before we go any further that if you haven't liked or subscribed to this podcast, you go ahead and do so. That way you don't miss out on any new content. And make sure to share this with someone so that way you can help them on their faith journey as well. So we were in week 15 of our Sent series where we're going through the book of Acts. After this week, we'll be taking a little bit of a break to do a different series called Hot Ones, where we're digging into some questions and things. So just be looking forward to that, because it's going to answer a lot of those questions that you might have or others might have about faith, the Bible, things like that.
And those extra points for those sermons are going to go even deeper than what I can do on Sundays, because some of these topics are like, they're a mile long.
Yes.
They could each have their own series. So the extra points are going to be really, really important for the next 5 weeks if you really want to dive into those topics.
Yeah.
I'm excited for that.
Yeah, absolutely. Me too. And we will get back into Acts, along the way at various points. So, but this week you were in Acts chapter 9 talking about Paul and after his conversion and things and kind of what happened there. And you talked to us about who we surround ourselves with, basically the circles that we're in, that we can't live new life in old circles. Give us a quick recap and some highlights from that.
Yeah, I think if I were to boil down what Sunday was all about, it's that one phrase: you can't live your new life in your old circles. And as a caveat to that, and I said it both services, but sometimes it can get lost in this doesn't mean that we don't have non-Christian people in our life. Like as a sent one, you have to have non-Christians in your life, but it can't have the same sort of influence the way that it used to. So that I'm not saying that Christians only hang out with Christians or whatnot, but I am saying, if you're surrounded majority with no strong Christians in your corner, no one that can hold you accountable, no one that you're reading the Bible with, that's going to be a really tough journey for you. And so that's why we're talking about surround yourself with the right people, because I gave the opening illustration. It was one of my favorite things that I've heard about in baseball, and I love baseball. But the fact that Anthony Rizzo was on a 100-loss team and a 100-win team for the same organization within 4 years of each other is remarkable. It's something that hardly anybody has ever experienced in baseball before. He was the only person left from that 2012 team. 25 rostered players, 24 of them were new by 2016. Wow. New general manager, new manager for the clubhouse, lots of coaching turnover, everything. They had completely overhauled. The only thing that was different, or the only thing that was the same was Anthony Rizzo. And it was so how did they go from the worst team in baseball to they won the World Series for the first time in 108 years in 2016? It had to do with who we surrounded, who he surrounded himself with. And I remember when I said it on Sunday, I said, we all know people that had unbelievable potential and surrounded themselves with the wrong people and never got. And everyone in the congregation, I could see shaking their head I know people that we went to school with that unbelievable potential and surrounded themselves with the wrong person and really had short-circuited, everything that they could have had in life. And so we've always known, our parents will go, be careful about who you hang out with and such. Good parents know that, and we know that as adults, but it's hard. It's really hard. I dug into some really just tragic stories of professional athletes last week of how a lot of these people come from really rough backgrounds, and then they hit it big, and they continue to bring these people from their past along into their future, and for some of them it has had really detrimental effects on their career and even on their lives and their livelihood and their health. It's so tragic to see that something that we all know and have agreed with for so long, we still see so many examples of how it goes wrong. And so for those of us that we've been walking through this Sent series, I've just had this burden, because this little passage of verse 19 through, I mean, we could have gone 1,000 different ways.
Yeah.
With it, but I just felt so compelled. Like, what I see a lot of in modern Western Christianity is this individualized version of, you know, I'm good with just me and my Bible. I'm good with just me and Jesus, and I don't really, it's like, there's just no biblical precedent for you to not be part of. Like, listen, when we talk about the church, there's certain images in the New Testament that people use for the church, and one of them is a body. You don't know any sort of body that has a body part that is healthy and functioning properly that's disconnected from the rest of the body. You just don't. It's just not possible. If you have a toe that gets cut off and it's just left, you know, over to the side, it rots. And you go, oh, but I'm good with just me and my Bible. No, listen, disconnected from the body, you rot. And then if you take the illustration even farther, to be disconnected from the body is to not be part of the body at all. And so, I mean, you got to be, and I know that brings all sorts of, I thought I was just saved by my faith. And I get it, but you've got to figure out, like, this was so important to the New Testament writers, how you think that we have graduated beyond having people. And then one of the most sinister things, and I do mean sinister things that I think I see a lot, is people will have other Christians in their life, but they're living the same safe Western Christian life as them. And so it's not detrimental in, like, maybe you're not going out and, you know, ruining your life overnight with some bad choices. What's happening, though, is you're just being lulled to sleep by being around mediocre Christians, that they're not doing much with their faith and you're not either, but hey, at least we all go to church and we're trying to raise our kids in church. And it's like, yeah, but that's not the goal. If you want to live a sent life, you got to get around other people that want to live sent. If you want to live a life on mission, you got to live around people that do life on mission. And like, so if you're like, oh yeah, but I got a circle. What's your circle like? Are they just a bunch of people just like you that are content to go to church once or twice a month and maybe hold a door or rock a baby here and there and give a little bit of, you know, their excess to the, you know, it's like, what does that look like? Like, let's get around some people that are like, you know what, I think God might be calling me to Africa. I think God might be calling me to plant a church. You might be calling me to leave my lucrative secular business to go into start a nonprofit. Like that that's the people that you want to get around. Those people are doing something. But it's just like, oh no, I just hang around with people that oh, we're just church people. You know, it's like, yeah, it's better than running with a bad crowd, I suppose. But good grief, like, don't you want more? And then and I hit this at the end of the sermon, like, whatever you model in front of your kids, that's going to be their life as well. Yeah. And, you know, like, I'll just say I have this really, like, personal illustration right now of, like, yesterday we finished up our final baseball tournament with my team that I've had since they were 7 years old. It was really, really difficult. For me. I mean, I've had these kids since they were 7 years old, some of them. And we've made this thing into a family. Like, we love these people. And this past summer, we have played the best baseball that we've played in 4 tournaments. We've won 2 of them. We lost in the championship yesterday by 1 run to one of the best teams in the state. And then the other one, we lost in the semifinals to one of the best teams in the tri-state area. Like, this team is legit. So we've lost 4 games all summer. Yeah. And people are going, why are you shutting this down? Like, you have one of the best teams in the state, like, in the whole region. Like, this team is unreal. Why are you letting this go? And I go, I just have other priorities. Like, this was never meant to be what our family was going to always be about. And no, we're not done playing sports and things like that. But, like, this season of our life, God is pulling me and Megan in a different direction. And people can't understand those sorts of decisions because they're so, like, countercultural. Right. And I just go, listen, God is calling us to some stuff as a family where that part of our life no longer fits in. It's not that that was a bad thing, and we love those people, and we're going to hope to see those people, and I hope that those kids stay connected to us, and that we can continue to find ways to minister to them and everything like that. But we're just making different choices, and that's what I want to say to people. It's like, if you're just living like everybody else all the time, like I don't know, like, yeah, you're probably going to make it to eternity with Jesus, but like, what are you going to have to show for it? Like that's more like, I want to get to the end of my life and know that like it all mattered in the ways that it really does. And I'm not saying that what I've been doing for the last 5 years with this baseball team hasn't mattered, because it has. I mean, we've baptized someone from it. We've seen people get into church because of it. And I'm not saying it didn't matter, and all the seeds that we've planted in all kinds of kids' hearts, because we've had literally dozens and dozens and dozens of kids come play with us, and they all get the same thing. We're going to pray with them. We're going to share the gospel with them at the end of both days on the weekend. And so like we've planted tons of seeds. I'm not saying it wasn't for nothing, but it's just like, if you want something different in your life, get around people that are doing stuff that's different. And we're having to manage how we like shift as a family, because our family's so used to this. Even Olivia, as the little sister that's been dragged from ballpark to ballpark to ballpark, she was saying yesterday in the car, she was like, "Are you sure that you can't keep it going? Like these are our people. Like this is our family." And I'll go, "Baby, we're just being called to do something different right now." And I know not everybody gets that, and I'm not even saying that's everybody's journey, but this whole rant has been about, yeah, you might be around some good people in your life, but if you're not around people that are really trying to live different and do something different instead of just going to church, then you're just going to live safe and simple like them, and you're going to feel comfortable because your life looks like theirs, but that's not actually the goal. Look at these people that we're studying. These people are doing, Saul's getting chased out of every town he goes to with death threats. Yeah. And we're like, yeah, I mean, no, we go to church a couple times a month. That's all that we signed up for. We don't want to do anything else. And you go, that's because that's the type of people you're surrounded with, right? Like my health journey that I've been on for the last couple of months is only where it's at because I'm surrounded with the right people. Because I have a wife that's supporting me and doing it with me. Even the staff here at our church, we've changed the way that if we have to eat together, like you guys have even helped accommodate that for me and Megan to make that possible. Like I'm surrounded with the right people. I have somebody right now who goes to our church I can text anytime and check in with them about how I'm doing. What do I need to make changes, this or that? I've got questions about my diet. I've got questions about should I do this or that? And he sends me workout plans, and it's like I'm surrounded with the right people. That's why I'm getting results that I haven't been able to get before. And it's just true of us in anywhere in life. And I just can't stress it enough. Who you surround yourself with is ultimately going to affect what your life ends up looking like. And I hope that we got that. You cannot live your new life in old circles.
Yeah, I think we did. I was looking back through your notes, and some of the stuff that we were emphasizing, how much like these people had his back and those kind of things, and they looked beyond his past, like a lot of them did. Obviously, there were second group of people that wanted harm to come to Saul, but for the believers to accept him in and look beyond that, what about the people that like you have a past, but people aren't looking, like people aren't ready to accept you in, people aren't looking beyond that yet? Like, what do they do? Is it something where they have to know, like, okay, I can no longer pursue my future here and I have to go somewhere else? Like, how do we handle that, and how do we find people? What are some practical ways that we can kind of find those people who do support us, who are there?
Yeah, I think that this is like a practical thing that the church has to wrestle with, because if Jesus is calling people out of darkness and into light, this is everyone that we're dealing with has a past and has things that they've done and gone through, and some of that's going to make their future life with Jesus way more messy than what it would have been if they had chosen a different path. And that's the thing, like, when I think about the Jerusalem believers that were like, I don't know about this dude. I know Damascus welcomed you in, but I don't know, bro, because we watched you drag people from house to house.
Damascus hadn't experienced
Damascus
it
didn't
yet.
see it. Damascus heard that it was coming, but by the time you got there, you were a changed person.
Yeah.
Jerusalem, the people in that Jerusalem church, they saw their friends yanked out of their homes by this dude. So it's like, yeah, you're going to have a little bit more of a difficult, and I don't even think that that's unfair, to be honest.
Yeah.
I'll say it. I know it should be grace and forgiveness. Yes, of course. But bro, they saw that with their own eyes.
Right.
That's way more difficult. That's why I didn't hit on it a whole lot yesterday, but doing ministry in a place where I grew up is we've had people attend our church and go oh no. No, I saw this dude acting wild all over town. I was that's just part of the thing. And you gotta, I think some of that you have to own, I did some stuff in the past that's going to make certain people maybe never be able to look at me. That doesn't, take away your calling or anything like that. It does just mean this is why I will tell young people, the decisions that you make right now are only going to make your life more difficult as you go on. I knew that when I was young. I just didn't care. I was too stupid, and so I did a bunch of stupid crap, and it has made my journey much more difficult. I'm uniquely broken in different ways because of things that I participated in and things that I went through and things that I will still struggle with to this day, even though Jesus has saved me and has set me free from so many different things. I'm still pretty uniquely broken in different ways because of choices that I've made. And so for some people, that's going to be they're going to have a longer road to trust with you. They're going to have they saw what you did and they saw who you were. And unfortunately, I think that that's somewhat fair, even though, yes, we're supposed to be people of forgiveness, but that doesn't mean that we just welcome anybody and everybody in. And sometimes that means that you got to go have a fresh start somewhere else. And God may have to call you. It can mean all sorts of things in that. And I think that's why the principle is more so, be real careful what you do in your life, because one bad moment can make the rest of your life so much more difficult. This is what I preach to our kids all the time. I'm like, guys, listen, you're getting to those ages, do not do something right now that's going to make the rest of your life difficult.
Yeah.
Right? I wish somebody had told me that in college whenever I was opening up credit cards for free sandwiches. Because that's how the banks used to do that. They'd set up carts outside of restaurants and be like, hey, you want a free Jimmy John's? Sign up. And then I would max that credit. I wish someone would go, that's going to make the whole rest of your life more difficult doing that. I know that sandwich today is going to make it really easy, but that's going to make the rest of your life very difficult. And I wish that I'd known that then. And so some of us, we're making choices right now that, it's going to make people more leery of you in the future. They're going, I don't know if this guy's the real deal or not. And I don't know that I can always blame them for that. Yes, eventually, through the grace of Jesus, we do forgive and such. But sometimes forgiveness and trust are two completely different things.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
You can be forgiven of all kinds of things, but I still may not let you come over to my house. That's just... Yeah,
and I think that, so my thought for the people who maybe are struggling with that or having some of that is to continue to show your faithfulness through your actions, your words, until they see your fruit. They might not really truly believe what is happening because they need time to 100%. Trust, to see it, to know, okay, this isn't just a quick, we've talked a little bit about the emotional response that people have to things. And sometimes it can seem you're like this right now, but let me just wait and see the next bad thing that happens, how you're going to respond to that, how you're going to deal with that. And so they may just need to see your faithfulness until they can see the fruit that's grown there.
Yep. Got to have some fruit inspection.
That place. So now, when it comes to the right people in our lives that are there to help us along the way, you talked about circles, and I think that sometimes for some people, they don't realize what we mean by circles, or they think like, yeah, okay, I get that, but like, what about this really toxic person that I work with? Or what about those people that maybe like I'm put in a dorm with somebody who's living like at college that lives a totally different lifestyle than me? How do I, like, in those spaces that are not necessarily my circles of who I'm like wanting to do life with, but I'm still in proximity with them on the regular.
Yeah.
How do I handle that?
Yeah, it's really, there's a difference between people that have access or proximity and people that have influence. That's got to be the difference. Like, you can't, you may not be able to choose who you sit beside at work. You can choose how much influence that person has in your life. You may not be able to choose your college roommate, but you can choose how much influence that person is able to wield in your life. And that's like setting really healthy boundaries and things like that. Like, I gave the example, like when I got saved, like I had two different groups of friends. Like, one of them I did drugs with, one of them I drank with. I could not go back into those circles. I just knew, like, I'm going to fall right back into it because I was still too early on with all of that. So I just couldn't. I had to change that sort of environment. It just wasn't going to work. I had control over that, but then this was when I got saved. I still worked a secular job. I couldn't control the people around me and who they were, but I could control whether or not I let them influence the way that I saw the world and the way that I behaved.
Right.
That's just part of maturity. Of, like, when you're young, everyone around you kind of influences you and can get you to do just about anything. But maturity would go, no, I may be in this position and I'm not in a position to do anything about it because I'm not the boss at work, or I'm not the registrar's office at college or whatever. But like, that person doesn't have influence in my life just because they have proximity to me. They're not. They don't have any bearing on. I'm not looking to them for advice. I'm not, confiding in them. I'm being nice. I'm being godly. I may be evangelistic, but I'm not going to these people for life advice.
Right.
So I would say just know the difference between people that you're somewhat stuck with in situations that are out of your control. Yeah. That still doesn't mean that they have influence over you. People only have influence to the level that you allow them to have. Yeah. And people don't automatically have influence just because they're around you.
Right. Absolutely. And you can be, like you said, you can still be that witness and friendly and those kind of things, but that doesn't mean that you have to go hang out with them all the time. That doesn't mean that you have to say yes when they invite you out or whatever. You can still be like, hey, well, I'm choosing to do something different. Like, y'all go ahead. I'm going to hang back here. You want to hang out and talk about Jesus? I'm here. Yeah. Like, I think we have to be okay with that and hold that tension of, while I'm in this situation, like, I can still be friendly, but that doesn't mean that I have to be your friend all the time in all the spaces you want to be in. I remember feeling that some, like, when I worked at a restaurant, and I had my coming back to Jesus time, and was like, all these people that I used to go to happy hour with after work, I couldn't do that anymore. Yeah. And the shift and the interesting thing that happened there, like, it was difficult to say no to a lot of those. Cause I remember at first I thought I can say yes and hang out with them and just not drink. But that wasn't easy to do. Cause when you're in that environment, like, once you stepped in that place and that same environment, like, those old habits come back. And that's where, like, essentially what you're talking about.
The hard part for me too was always, people all automatically assume that, like, oh, you done found religion, so now you feel, you're too good to hang out with us. No, actually, the problem is I'm so bad, I can't, like, I'm just the same as you all. That's why I can't come back. If I was morally superior, I could go into any situation that I want, and I would not be affected by it. The truth is not that I am better than you. The truth is I am the same as you. And so if I go around you and I'm the same as you, I'm going to do what you do.
Yeah, I
which
think
is why,
that is,
for self-preservation, I had to step out of some relationships for a while.
that is great language, I think, for people to use. Like, if you're in that situation, using that language right there with them, because they're probably, because they probably do think, oh, you're judging me, or you think that you're better than me now. And I think saying, no, I'm not, and that's why I can't, I think is great.
Yeah, bro, if I was better than you, I would come and set the example for you. But if not, I'm probably going to end up drunk. If I was morally superior, I'll show you the way, bro. No, the reason I stepped out of those circles is because I'm going to end up right back with y'all, because, I'm not just, it's one of those deals that's a maturity issue too. God will save you out of certain circles and then send you back into them later on when you're stronger.
Yeah.
But
well, I think what's been really unique to see your story is that, you stepped out a lot of those relationships, and what's been really cool is that God has brought some of those people around to this place where you're at, and like what they've seen in you, seeing that fruit and that faithfulness has helped them in their faith. And that has been cool, because maybe some people have come and they're like, I can't believe that, or there's no way, but then they see it and they're like, oh, wow. And we know one of them who gave their testimony, on Good Friday.
This was one I had to walk away from. He was my best friend in the world. And then yesterday, he spent the day at the ball field watching my son play baseball, and he even stayed for the game that he knew I couldn't stay for. So the way someone was there for him. That's
so cool.
That's someone that I had to walk away from for a season, but that God has let me listen. And then some of the other relationships that I had to walk away from. We my one friend group, we had one of our friends die. And even though I don't keep up with these guys very much, we've all kind of moved around the country or whatnot. At this point, when that happened, they said, we want you to do his funeral. I've got one friend that lives down in North Carolina and watches us online every single week and will text me about the sermons and things. Those are all relationships that no, I can't keep going into those situations. But now on the other side, I've got one friend that'll just pop up every once in a while here at church for 2 or 3 weeks at a time. And so sometimes God calls you out of it, and then he'll call you back into those once you're strong enough to actually make a difference.
Yeah.
And so that's just one of those deals. It was very difficult early on because I didn't have any friends. Because I didn't have Christian friends yet, because I just got saved. I didn't know anybody at church.
Yeah.
And so then I didn't have my other friends either. So it was just like me and Megan. And truthfully, me and Megan weren't on real good terms because I had been acting really stupid and wild. And so I had nobody. My family was always really good to me, but I was always really bad to my family. So it was awkward to go around them. And so it was kind of like a really miserable time, but I knew it was the only way I was going to get out of the life that I was living and into the new one. And now I'm not affected by those things anymore. And so I can, if somebody from my past wants to hang out, I'm not tempted to, I'm not going to end up drunk or high, or I'm not going to end up, doing something that it's just I'm past that point. I got new demons and new issues that I have to deal with, but I'm not worried about those old circles now. And so it's just something. Whoever we're around is really going to affect how things go.
Yeah, and so you shared about Barnabas and how really gave some examples and some thought process around how, God rarely gets us where he wants us to go by ourselves.
Yep.
So he sends people into our lives to help us become the people that we're created to be. And Barnabas was that major encourager. And you talked about how for us, we need to be this for some other people. We sometimes need to sacrifice for other people, because as much as we need that in our lives, we need to do that for others. Yep. What are some ways, I know that you did hit a couple ideas or gave some clues to some people that are doing cool things in our church.
Yep.
But what does that look like practically in our lives? How can we come alongside other people and be that encourager, help them with what God is doing?
Yeah. So a couple small practical things that I'll tell you, and this is not, again, you're not going to pat us on the back for this because this isn't earth shattering, but there's a lot of ways to be a Barnabas. So right now, Megan and I are helping support 2 different church plants. One of them asked us the way that they are funding. This is a church plant out in California from a guy that we've literally met for like 3 days.
Yeah.
He interviewed with us. He did not take the job with us. And then we've just stayed connected all this time. He said the way that they're going to fund their children's ministry is they were going to find 100 of their friends from around the country to give $5 a month. That way they would have $500 a month to spend on children's ministry. And that's how they were going to do it. And we said, yeah, we'll do that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you're not going to pat us on the back because we send $5 a month. But, like, I wanted him to know, like, yeah, bro, we're with you on this.
Yeah.
Then we have other friends that are planting a church up in Fort Wayne. And we said, we can't do anything financially, but we're on their prayer team. So they send us a monthly update of what's going on, what they need prayer for. And then when we go to Launch 32 next month, we're going to meet up with Brandon and see him in person.
Yeah.
And so you can be a Barnabas in a lot of different ways. Like for us, like I believe really strongly in what the Recovery Warriors are doing. And so every once in a while I will leverage my position and go, like at Christmas Eve offering. We don't have like a plan like we're like Christmas Eve is one of those nights where it's a special service, and so we don't need to take an offering, but if we're going to take it, let's do it for something that matters. And so I will leverage my position to be able to go, all right, this Christmas Eve offering we're going to give to somebody in our congregation's ministry that I see them doing something. Like I know when Jared and Erica started to foster kids, there's been a lot of people that have come alongside them. Like those people may not be able to welcome a kid into their home, but they can come alongside and say, hey, let me help you with this or help you with that. I mean, there's been stuff with our interns that people have gone, you know what, how can I send a special gift to our interns to help them make ends meet or help them pay some of the fees that they've got. Those are very practical ways that you can just find, like, what is it that God is doing? I remember one Wednesday night, Megan took her women's group over to help Playfully Planted and just go, hey, we don't have any money or any toys, but we got hands, so we can help, pack toys up, or we can clean toys. We can do. There's all kinds of ways. People do that with the church all the time.
Yes,
people have done this in my ministry. Where I remember one time, this absolute saint. He knew we were going on vacation a couple of years ago, and it was going to be mine and Megan's anniversary. And that Sunday when he saw me, he handed me a $100 bill, and he goes, hey, will you take Megan out to dinner for your anniversary? Hey, it's like, I just want you all to know that we care for you.
Yeah. Like
that's someone that's just like, I'm going to invest in your marriage right here. Like, and so there's so many practical ways that you can do it. You don't even have to have any resources. You don't have to have a $100 bill. Yeah. You can like send like, because Barnabas, the name means son of encouragement.
Yes.
Like for us, one of the things that we've adopted, like we have this meeting on Monday mornings where we're sending pastoral care cards out to people, but we'll send it to people at other churches too. Whenever they're going through stuff or they got something new going on, something exciting, something heartbreaking, we'll be a Barnabas by sending them a card and just go, hey bro, we're thinking about you guys with whatever it is that you're going through. Sending a text message can make you. I've got a pastor, the state chairman of West Virginia Ministries, Ministries Council, texts me every single Sunday morning, a Bible verse and praying for you as you get ready to preach to your people this week.
That's cool. Every
single Sunday I get that. That dude's a Barnabas. He's like, I don't got no money to send you. I don't even got no hands to do anything for you, but I can pray for you. Yeah. That you can be a Barnabas in so many ways. Just see where God is moving and see where God is blessing and just find out how you can be part of it.
Yeah. And I think like a lot of that can tie into your spiritual gifts as well. Like there are some of you who are, you have the gift of encouragement and literally like, this is you. So like lean into it and figure out the ways, like no matter what stage you're in, whether you've got finances or not, the ways that you can be an encouragement. Cause I know that like those messages that out of the blue, when people send you a message, say, hey, you've just been on my heart. I've been praying for you, whatever. Mean the world to us.
It's how like you call purpose out. Like, and again, I'm just trying to give examples. I'm not trying to get credit for anything. Right. But like, we had a 21-year-old dude lead worship for us yesterday that had never actually fronted a band like that to my knowledge. And it was incredible. I did not go to bed last night without sending him a text. Bro, awesome job. I am so proud of you. That's all it takes. And then like you can be, that's all you have to do. You see somebody like, my nephew had been struggling, pitching a couple times this summer, and then he pitched really great in the championship yesterday. And so I texted my sister-in-law, said, please tell Charlie I'm so proud of him. That's all it is. It's just like letting people know, like, I see what you're doing. I'm with you, whether I have money for you or just a prayer for you. Like, I am with you. And that, my gosh, that helps so much. Like I talked about the people at this church, that we've got people that have been with, and I could not even name, I just wanted to name a couple of them. I could not even begin to name all the people that, like, they just have been with us through so much. And I'm telling you, when I said Sunday, the only reason Megan and I are still standing, because ministry is difficult. Like, no matter what size your church is, no matter your demographic or anything like that, ministry is difficult. And being surrounded with the right people has been the only reason why we're still standing. Like, because if not, it would have knocked all of us out by now. And it's the same thing in your life. If you're not surrounded by the right people, life is going to knock you down. It's going to be so difficult. But just like when I look out every Sunday and I see people that I'm like, that, I know that person's with me. Even though there has been a lot of people that have abandoned us and turned their backs on us and said horrible stuff about us. Like, I'm able to keep going because I know I got people on my, like, that's got my back. I've through all the good and all the bad and all the ugly and everything else in between, like, you got the right people, you're gonna make it. That's what it is. It's life and ministry is going to be so difficult. And if you try to do it by yourself or with the wrong people, man, you are headed for disaster.
Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. Well, who we surround ourselves with really matters. And it's not just what matters for you, but what matters for those people that you can impact and who God is sending you to. So make sure that you surround yourself with the right people. And if we can help you in any way, do that, or taking your next steps to kind of get involved in places where you can find some of that Christian community as well. We would love to help you do that. But make sure you tune in again next week, as we will be getting into the hot one stuff. And we hope to really just help you take your next steps and take some practical steps as well for your faith journey.
Thanks for tuning in to The Extra Point. Be sure to subscribe to the Southridge Church podcast and tune in every Wednesday for another episode of The Extra Point.